Alright, today I am changing the rotor and the pads. So before getting started, I've got me stand and everything, make sure safety first. And on the back, I don't know if I can show you here, but I'll try. There's 17mm bolt on there and one down the bottom here. Anyway, holding the camera at that angle, I can't really see what I'm pointing at. But there's a 17mm on the top, 17mm on the bottom that need to undo. And I'm not changing just the pads, otherwise I'd only do that one bolt, swing the arm up and change the pads. I'm taking the whole lot off so I can do both. The pads I used 3 years ago, I'm actually impressed with. They haven't been wearing down evenly. You can see that the outside has been doing most of the braking. The inside one is still about half its life in it still. I won't be putting these back in, but it's kind of a shame that I'm changing them now. Could have gotten a little bit more life out of that first. Anyway, I'm putting Bendix pads in today, so that's just tough luck. It's the new rotor I'm using. They're Australian made rotors. I can't really tell you too much more about it other than that, but I'll put a link in the description if you wanted to investigate it more. I'm just happy that they're Australian made and they're what I wanted. With the slots, okay, reason why I got slots and not the slots with the dimples is the place I contacted that sells these, they also sell the ones with dimples and so forth, and they said that the ones with dimples are generally designed for brakes that have a larger pad, larger area to cover. With standard brakes you don't want the dimples because there's less pad on the disc. And so with all the dimples, you know, all the holes, I'm calling them dimples, but you know what I mean, all the little holes in there. With standard pads, there's not enough pad on the disc, so actually you get half the braking power to what you normally get. But with the slots, you have dust dispersion, and the gases that's generated from the pads will escape, giving you better brakes. So that's the reason why I went for this particular disc and not the ones with the holes. Okay, also the reason why it's going this way, why this one's a left hand disc is I read this up on Wiki that the disc goes this way because the pad should reach the top before the back, before the bottom of the slot. So when it's going along your brake, it's supposed to go that way, you know, like hits the top, travels down. So I've put it all back together without the pads for now, because I'm putting the pads on there. It's not so easy trying to do all that at the same time, so I take the pads off first and then bring this arm up. You can see how easy that is to, once you put it all back together, bring the arm up, and then we'll put the pads on, and I'll show you a little trick I do with that. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. I hope so, because I can't. Around here. What I'm doing is I'm using this clamp to basically, with an old brake pad, and I'm just squeezing it in. Saves me having to bleed it again. I've done this with ever since I started working on cars. Now I don't know if it's supposed to be done this way anymore with the newer cars, but it still works for me. So as long as it works, I'll keep doing it. I've never had any dramas from doing it. The only thing that you got to watch out for when you squeeze them in is that you check your brake fluid level that hasn't overflowed and gone into the engine bay, because you don't want brake fluid in the engine bay. It's just going to peel the paint off your metal. So if you see any brake fluid go over, make sure you degrease it. Definitely a good idea to have degreased it before you even start this job. But so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just squeezing that pad in. I'm squeezing the pistons in rather with the pad and the clamp, and so once that's in, I can get the new pads on. And so I've got one pad already in place here. Okay, so that's all together now. I do already have a pet hate of these Bendix pads that I didn't have with these other ones. There's no metal plate on the back there, and there's metal plate on the back of a Bendix pad. These little clips at the end, it's only a very soft metal. When you bring the caliper down and it pushes against that, it easily straightens these little clips out. So that's a bit of a pain. You've got to really make sure that you got clearance before bringing the caliper down. You just can't go on the slightest rub. You know, you think, oh yeah, well that's normal, you know, you can put the caliper down with a slightest rub. Nah, these metal plates here will unfold the little clips and the whole thing will slide down and become a huge problem. Another thing with Bendix pads is my other car is here. Another thing with these Bendix pads is this blue section here. Now the purpose of this is, with old rotors, that's supposed to take the groove of the old rotor so there's no squealing and so forth, and you got full pad against the rotor, because that just rubs down and, you know, sits into the groove of the old rotor. My argument there is, why didn't they cover the whole pad like that? I mean, like, or at least put the blue through the center of it around here, not there. Like, if that's all you're covering, then okay, this middle part here is going to have blue. That's not really going to do any braking. It's just like a silly idea to me, but anyway, there must be a reason for it. These are apparently the best brake pads you can get, and that's why I got them, because for $20 more I just considered stop mucking around with cheap pads, and you know, it's worth, for safety reasons, it's worth paying the extra 20 bucks for pads. Okay, so that's the right hand side done now, and the whole reason why I've done this is I've been driving for a while, and anything under 60 k's you don't really feel anything different about the braking. It all feels good. But when I get over 100 k's, or say even over 80 k's, the right hand side would shake as you brake. Don't know why that is, but I'll show you the rotor in a second. But what you do see is that the outer pad has been wearing down a lot quicker. This one here is nearly at the point where this metal warning bit of metal here will start screeching and let me know that the pad's too low. So it's a good thing that I'm changing the pads now. This is the other side, which is still more than half of its life on it. So that's kind of like a waste of pad. It's never going to get used again. So I don't know, I'll take that to Repco somewhere and see if they can recycle it or something. I don't know. So yeah, don't know why it was doing it. So let's have a look at the rotor. Alright, so this part's not important if you only watch this video to know how to change the rotors. I'm just going to kind of blabber on a little bit here. Now this is the left hand rotor, this is the right hand rotor. Now you look at the difference, there's a bit of a, it's a rise there, or a dip there if you wish, but it's pretty even. That's a pretty good rotor still. That's nothing to cry about there. And look on the other side, and that's, you know, he's had a good life. It's all nice and smooth there. Yeah, like this rotor could be reused. It's a pretty good rotor, that one. Over the driver's side, the one where I'd get shaking from when I braked, this is interesting. because like this one here, you can see how that's different to like that's nice and smooth still, and the other side wore that the center dipped down more to the outside wearing, but that's okay. Now of the right hand side disc, you can see that pattern there, how it's grooved down. Turn it over, in exactly the same spot, it's grooved, that part's raised. It's exactly the same area, if you can see that, but the center part there is raised, and on this side here it's dipped, and that makes no sense to me. I like that the two pads have no relation to each other really, other than breaking on the same disc or rotor. So why would that happen? Why would the same pattern on this side, which can't travel through obviously, why would that same pattern be on the both sides? That's just, I've never seen that. Other than that, I don't really see a reason for, maybe the camera pick something up, I don't see any reason why the disc should be making me shake, other than on this side here there's black spots. I don't know if you can see them, it's bad lighting, but there's black spots on the insides of the dip. So it looks like actually there might be a spot right there, could be causing me the drama. And like I said, it only happens when I'm doing above 80 kilometers an hour. Other than that, you wouldn't even notice it. When you go for a rego inspection, they're only driving back roads and they're only doing 50 k's. They never picked up on it. I've been driving like that for probably the past, I don't know, since the last rego inspection anyway. And right, and just around town, you're braking normal, you don't notice it. So it's really weird. Anyway, hoping that's what my problem was. I'll go for a test drive and see how we go. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here with the brake fluid. Now, I was lucky it didn't overflow. You see by squeezing the brake pads back in how much fluid came back up. Definitely way above that maximum level. So I'm actually surprised how much fluid came back up myself. That's quite a lot. It came back up through those lines. Just goes to show you how much fluid the double piston brake calipers hold. Bit of a tongue twister, double piston brake caliper. Anyway, so yeah, I haven't started the van yet, so there's going to be some pump back down. I'm going to do that first before I decide if I should drain any or not. Okay, so you can see after running the van for a little bit and pumping those brakes, getting those pads to hold that rotor end tight, bringing the fluid down a bit more. I'll go for a drive and that should come down a little bit more, and I don't think I'll worry about draining that little bit of extra out of the reservoir. It's not going to cause any dramas. So that's pretty much it, guys. So thanks for listening to my blabbering, and hopefully that's helps somebody out there. So next time, cheers guys.